Imagine standing in the center of a grand, sweeping avenue. It stretches before you with unnatural precision, cutting through the landscape in a perfect geometric grid. Around you, multi-story houses built from fired red bricks rise into the sky, every single brick bearing the exact same standardized dimensions. Beneath your feet, neatly aligned stone slabs conceal an intricate subterranean labyrinth of drainage channels, carrying wastewater far beyond the city limits. This is a level of hyper-advanced urban engineering that humanity would not replicate for thousands of years. But you are not standing in a modern European district. You are standing in the heart of Mohenjo-daro, over 4,500 years ago. This spectacular metropolis, alongside its twin sister Harappa, formed the crown jewels of the Indus Valley Civilization. It was a sprawling Bronze Age superpower that defied the limitations of its time. At its peak, it housed tens of thousands of citizens living in unprecedented comfort and societal order. Geographically, it was staggering, spanning an area far greater than ancient Egypt and Mesopotamia combined. Yet, as we dig through the dust of this forgotten empire, a chilling, deeply unsettling void emerges. Unlike the ancient Egyptians who left behind the majestic temples of Karnak and towering monuments to warlord pharaohs, and unlike the Assyrians who carved bloody murals of conquests and chained captives into stone, the Indus Valley left no palaces, no triumphal arches, no weapons of mass warfare, no royal tombs overflowing with gold and slaughter. This was a silent, peaceful civilization. It flourished in absolute, mysterious harmony. And then, without warning, it vanished. The cities were left completely hollow, surrendered to ghosts and swallowed by the desert sands for millennia. For nearly a century, archaeologists stood in absolute disbelief before this blank slate of history. How could a superpower of this scale simply evaporate without leaving a single tale of its downfall? In the 1940s, British archaeologist Sir Mortimer believed he had cracked the case. Deep in the streets of Mohenjo-daro, his team unearthed 37 skeletons scattered in chaotic, tragic positions. Some lay sprawled in the middle of the road. Others were huddled in the corners of their final rooms. Wheeler declared it a massacre. He proposed the terrifying Aryan Invasion theory, claiming that bloodthirsty nomadic tribes from Central Asia swept through the Green Valley, slaughtering the peaceful citizens and smashing their citadels. For decades, this brutal invasion was taught as historical fact, but modern science was about to shatter the illusion. With the dawn of 21st century forensic anthropology, scientists reopened the cold case of the Indus Valley. The results shook the academic world to its core. Microscopic examination of the bones revealed absolutely no signs of weapon trauma, no sword cuts, no arrow wounds. Furthermore, carbon dating proved these deaths did not occur at the same time. They were separated by years, even decades. There were no widespread ash layers, no signs of burning, and no architectural evidence of a military siege. The myth of the bloody invasion collapsed entirely. The city had not fallen to the sword. Not a single arrow had been fired against its walls. So, how did a civilization so meticulously organized, one that used a flawless binary weight system for international trade, and possessed a unique script carved onto soapstone seals found as far away as Mesopotamia, simply pack up and evaporate? The answer did not carry a weapon. It carried the silent, apocalyptic force of a changing planet. Around 1900 BCE, the Asian monsoon climate underwent a drastic, catastrophic shift. Geological core samples reveal that the seasonal rains, which had sustained the valley for centuries, suddenly began to weaken and retreat. This climatic shift dealt a fatal blow to the Ghaggar-Hakra river system, the legendary Saraswati River of ancient texts. It was the true lifeblood of the Indus civilization. As the rains failed, this mighty river began to dry up, transforming from a roaring torrent into disconnected pools and finally into a mirage buried beneath encroaching sand dunes. Imagine the psychological terror of the citizens watching their water source, the very anchor of their agriculture, trade, and survival, recede further away from their walls every single year, leaving their fertile fields completely barren. But nature's assault was double-edged. While drought strangled the east, the violent Indus River to the west delivered a different kind of death blow. Sedimentary layers at Mohenjo-daro reveal that massive tectonic shifts and violent earthquakes deep within the earth radically altered the topography of the region. The Indus River was forced to violently change its course multiple times. This tectonic chaos triggered two opposing disasters. Some regions were completely cut off from water, drying up within months, while other areas were repeatedly submerged by catastrophic, mud-laden floods that breached defenses and obliterated the celebrated sanitation networks.
The Great Bath of Mohenjo-daro, a massive, brilliantly engineered reservoir lined with bitumen to prevent leaks, was no longer a sacred space for ritual purification or social gatherings. It became a monument to human helplessness against a fracturing earth. As stagnant waters bred deadly epidemics like malaria and cholera, the population withered. The scattered skeletons found in the streets were not casualties of war, but the tragic remnants of a slow, agonizing biological collapse. People who died in their homes and alleyways, with no one left to give them a proper burial. This environmental breakdown triggered an immediate, devastating economic collapse. The Indus cities lived and breathed international commerce, exchanging goods with the Akkadian and Sumerian empires, where cuneiform tablets spoke with reverence of a wealthy, distant land called Meluhha, the ancient name for the Indus. But as the Near East faced its own political upheavals and maritime trade routes fractured, the merchant elite of Mohenjo-daro and Harappa lost their wealth and authority. In a society built without a massive military apparatus, or a tyrant king to enforce order by the sword, the centralized administration simply dissolved. The invisible social contract broke. The strict civic coordination that once forced factories to produce bricks of identical ratios vanished. The trading seals disappeared, and administrative chaos took over. The citizens no longer had a reason to stay in these dying urban husks. There was no clean water to drink, no fields to yield food, and no trade to bring fortune. In a haunting, magnificent silence, without the roar of battles, the people packed whatever valuables they could carry. They abandoned their luxurious homes, walked away from their perfect geometric streets, and migrated in small, scattered groups toward the east and south. They headed toward the humid basins of the Ganges River, blending into local, agrarian cultures until their unified identity dissolved forever.